Alright, at this point, there's absolutely no discussion to be had. The Oculus Quest 2 is a real thing. There are real images that have been leaked. At this point, it's no longer a render, it's actually a physical product that you can see. It's real, and I think we need to talk about it and what the possibilities are, and definitely some negatives, hopefully some positives. We're going to get into all that. Before we do, we are covering next gen. We're covering all things video games, including VR, so consider subscribing. We would appreciate your support. We've done Quest 2 rumors, quite a few videos at this point, so we are definitely on top of the Quest 2, and if you found this video helpful, enjoyable, please consider throwing us a like and let us know down below what you're thinking about the Quest 2, and if you're a Quest owner, are you thinking of selling your Quest, or is this just not looking that good? So I'm going to show the pictures of the Quest. So I wasn't going to talk about this when it was just the renders, because to me, it did look like just renders for a second. I was like, this doesn't really look like it could be legit. It might not be legit. I'm going to let it sleep for a minute. Then we got the second render, and now there's actually pictures of the thing. And a bunch of things have been confirmed basically just from looking at the outside of this device. There is no IPD slider. It looks like the level of premium materials has been cut down. It looks much more plastic. However, it does look a fair bit smaller, which is good, and presumably it's lighter. I mean, that was one of the big complaints. But more complaints. I mean, it does. The head strap was a huge complaint on the original Quest. I've said it's the least comfortable VR headset I've used, and I've probably used about 10 different ones. This looks like, honestly, possibly even worse than the Quest 1 headset. So unless it's really substantially lighter and or smaller, this could be a continued issue with the Quest, which is a huge bummer since they're pushing out a new product. You would hope that they would have made some improvements. And the controllers, I was also hoping for not a revolutionary upgrade, but something a little bit better. I mean, there could be more tech in there, we're not sure. And it does look like it's still 4 cameras. I was kind of hoping for maybe a camera up top or something. I know it would be very hard to have a camera in the back of the headset, but something that could have helped, maybe like a wide-angle camera up top that could just cover more range for things like throwing grenades. So basically, a little bit of disappointment, and we can't confirm if there's still 2 headphone jacks. Not that that's a huge deal, but basically this looks like a side grade to a downgrade, right? You're losing that IPD sensor. The materials definitely seem to be not as good, and overall it does appear to be cheaper, at least. However, you do get some benefits. It is presumably going to be lighter. It would be just silly if they didn't make this lighter, and it's presumably going to have a better processor. Will it have a better panel or something? We can talk a little bit more about that, or a better battery life. Basically, this looks like a side grade. This reminds me a lot of the Oculus Rift going to the Oculus Rift S, where going from the Rift to Rift S, you lost your OLED screen, you lost 10 hertz of refresh rate, but you did get some benefits. You got the inside-out tracking, which did come at a cost because it didn't necessarily cover the range of the original Rift, but at the same time it did cover more range. Like, it covered specific things like a larger play area much better, and it didn't require as many wires, but you still had issues with certain motions where the controllers would lose tracking. So that, again, that's a side grade. You're making compromises. And I think that's what is potentially concerning about this, is that it is a side grade. So let's talk about the possibilities of what this product actually is, because I have a few thoughts on it just based on what we can see of what it physically has. The first thing is the design is white, and that to me means that we could essentially be looking at an Oculus Go 2, so to speak. They might keep it in the Quest lineage, like call it an Oculus Quest Lite, but I think it's important to note that the Oculus Go was recently discontinued, and Facebook basically said we are only going to be pushing out 6 degrees of freedom headsets from now on. So I think the perhaps best case scenario for this headset is that this is simply the Oculus Go 2. Sure, it might be called the Quest Lite or something because that name is selling in a very strong name, and it frankly looks like a Quest. It's 6 degrees of freedom, totally free. It looks like that could be the first possibility, that we're looking at a Oculus Quest Lite that will continue to sell alongside the current existing Quest. If that's the case, I think we likely, all of these changes, right, getting rid of the IPD tends to lend towards it being a single panel headset, things like that, the lack of quality materials, it seems like they are trying to cut cost, so this might be a cheaper, more easy to manufacture headset that will not have a higher resolution screen. It might even be a 60 hertz panel that might still have the same Snapdragon chip, and it'll sell alongside the Quest for a cheaper price tag, maybe $300, maybe even $250. That would be insane, and then I think this would be a really, really strong, promising headset. The next possibility is that this is actually a replacement for the Quest, and the Oculus Quest will go away, and in that case I kind of have some issues with that. I mean, we don't know the technical upgrades besides what we can physically see, so it is entirely possible that this headset has a 90 to 120 hertz screen and twice as good of a battery life and twice as powerful as a processor. If all three of those things are the case, and they let you still use the Oculus Link feature, which they should, and it seems like they will, then this would be a reasonable side grade for me. I guess based on what we can see physically, this would not be a good replacement for the Quest. If this is replacing the Quest, they would have to really push with better hardware on the inside, better display, better battery, and a better chip. I hope that that is not the case, where we're actually swapping out the currently existing Quest. I hope the Quest continues to persist in that case. Then there's a third kind of option, which I think is perhaps more possible. Just because we've seen this headset leak doesn't mean that there isn't another headset that could happen. This could be replacing the Go, in that it is the Oculus Quest Lite, if you will, but that doesn't mean that we're still not going to get a sequel headset. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get a Oculus Quest Pro or an Oculus Quest proper revamp. Like, this could exist, but then there could also be a full refresh of the Quest, which I would be down for, assuming that this headset has lesser internals as well as the side traded externals that we've kind of seen so far. I would hope that there's another headset in the work that is a proper sequel to the Quest. That being said, based on this headset, there might still be compromises. They might have decided that single panel is the way to go, since they've done that with their most recent headsets now, being this one and the Oculus Rift S. But I think there's still hope that there could still be a second headset alongside of the announcement of this one. But what do you guys think of this? I personally hope that this is a Quest Lite and the current Quest continues to sell, or they have a second headset that we haven't seen yet. And what would you want the price for this to be based on what I'm seeing? I mean, it would be great if they could get $250, but $300 would be a really solid deal for this headset, in my personal opinion. That is all for me, guys. I will catch you next time.